what's happening around the world and what's happening here at home. A very good evening to you and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando and here are your headlines for tonight.
Cabinet attempts to obtain powers to determine electricity charges. A decision to summon the Prime Minister as well as the President before the Parliamentary Select Committee.
එතුමානේ මාවවත් කැඳවන්න බෑ. මං යන්නේ නැත්තම්. මට කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඇත්තෙත් නැහැ. මං නොගියයි.
Railway strike ends at midnight tonight. A loss of approximately 19 million rupees incurred. The current status that has befallen are ancient irrigation systems.
Railway trade unions say although the strike comes to an end today, token strikes for 24 hours will be launched every Thursday midnight until the salary anomalies are resolved. The train strike launched by several trade unions of the Railway Department from midnight on Thursday is due to conclude at midnight today. Now, the 48-hour train strike has caused a loss of 19 million rupees to the nation.
Due to the 48-hour train strike, only 32 of the 360 scheduled trains operated yesterday. Only 10 of the 300 trains scheduled to operate in the weekend engaged in operations. The general public was severely inconvenienced due to the 48-hour strike.
All these activities mislead the general public. These inconvenience the general public. All of this is a result of bad leadership.
පාලනය වෙනස් කරා කියලා මේ රටේ කිසිම පාලකයෙක් කොයි පාලකයාවත් එකයි.
අපිට තමයි ඉතින් හිඟා කන්න වෙන්නේ මේ හැමදේම පාඩු වෙනකොට.
දැන් නේද හොඳයිනේ දැන් සනීපයිනේ කට්ටියට.
ඉතින් දුම්රිය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව
The Railway Department and the trade unions should have managed this better. The root cause for all these problems is the lack of proper management. We will have to pay for the loss. It's not like the government or the Minister of Transport will pay for the loss.
ගෙවනවා කියලා පාඩුව. අද මිනිස්සු ගොඩාක් අමාරු.
At a time where people are going through immense hardships, it's unfair of them to protest for salary increments. The government should have a stronger backbone.
තමයි රජයත් කොන්ද පණ තියෙන රජයක් වෙන්න ඕනේ.
පාඩුව මහ ජනතාවට. ඒගොල්ලන්ට පාඩුව නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ ලක්ෂ ගණන් හම්බ වෙනවා. පඩිය.
හැමදාම ස්ට්‍රයික්.
Every day there is a strike. What is the point of this? The workers in the railway department, like the doctors, are staging strikes every day. How will this country move forward? Either these trade union workers should be thrown to jail or a strict law should be brought in this country, or this government should just leave. There should be trade unions in a country, but there is no need to allow these trade union leaders to act in such extremist manners and in whatever way they want. There have been trade union actions taken place in the history, but those were carried out in a fair manner.
මොනතරම් වැඩ වර්ජන සිද්ධ වුණාද කියලා. හැබැයි ඒවල තිබුණා යම්කිසි සාධනීය තත්ත්වයක්.
මේ මොහොතේ කරන්න ඕන.
What needs to be done right now is that if the government cannot resolve this problem without further inconvenience in the general public, they should just leave.
නැත්නම් වෙන විකල්පයක් නෑ ආණ්ඩුවට මේක සාධාරණව ඉෂ්ට කරන්න බැරි නම්.
It was also reported that due to the closure of ticket counters and offices in multiple train stations, passengers were compelled to travel without a ticket. General Manager of the Railway Department, Dilantha Fernando, said that passengers who had paid for pre-bookings will be reimbursed. Meanwhile, State Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation Ashok Abe Singha expressed the following views at a media briefing in Kurunegala today. If the anomalies in their salaries were rectified, this would have affected the wage structure of every employee in the government sector. The President appointed a committee headed by the Secretary Ranukge. We will receive this committee's report within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Once this report is approved by the Cabinet, we can solve all issues. They launched the strike while we were in the process of solving their issues. However, if this strike is continued, we will deploy extra buses of the SLTB. We will also introduce a system in the future to enable those who have season tickets to travel in buses as well.
Sri Lanka, throughout the ancient times, stood as a nation with an enriched irrigation technology. But what is the fate of our irrigation system today? This is the story of the Vegolla River in Nikawatavana, Tambulla.
At a glance, although it looks like a plain land, this is the Vegolla River in Dambulla, Nikawatavana. Back then, over 1,000 acres of agricultural land were enriched from this වැව while feeding many other tanks with water. Lenava Alut වැව, Rota වැව, Bellang වැව and Rangirigama වැව are some of the tanks which water was supplied to during both Yala and Maha seasons. But the present fate of this වැව is a fine example of the negligence of the responsible authorities.
මාස් කරන්නට පමණක්
There's no water even during the cultivation season every other month. The tank is filled with mud. There's no point in telling this to the authorities.
නිසි ප්‍රතිචාරයක් මේකට ලැබිලා නැහැ.
This is the condition of the floodgate which releases water to the Lenava Alut වැව, Rota වැව and other tanks. Due to the negligence of the maintenance of the වැව, over 107 acres of farming lands are not being utilized.
The floodgates are stuck with mud. Water does not flow out. There's that much of mud stuck here. Water flows from here all the way to Bellanoya.
While the nourished soil of the land is ruined due to such mishandling and negligence, the authorities boast of large-scale new development projects.
It's reported that Japan has offered Sri Lanka 1 billion yen to develop the Trincomalee harbour.
During a meeting which was held at Temple Trees yesterday with Dr. Hiroto Izumi, the Japanese Prime Minister's special advisor and the Japanese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said they made great progress on Japan-Sri Lanka economic cooperation. During the meeting, Dr. Hiroto Izumi reaffirmed his government's commitment to develop East Container Terminal of the Colombo South Harbour as a joint venture partnership of Sri Lanka and India. Issuing a release, the Prime Minister's office said Bandaranayake International Airport expansion project will also receive Japanese assistance. It added that an LNG terminal will also be built in Sri Lanka with Japanese assistance. Discussions about freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean was also held at the meeting. Ministers Mangala Samaravira, Ravi Karunanayake, Kabir Hashim, Malik Samaravikrama, Sagala Ratnayaka and several others attended the meeting. However, the release did not state if the Minister of Foreign Affairs or a representative from that ministry attended the meeting. Meanwhile, the island reported that Japan has offered Sri Lanka 1 billion yen to develop the Trincomalee harbour during this meeting.
Japan is intervening on behalf of the US, America, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore. These countries are together in order to handle their power in the Asian region. Here, all of these countries cater to the needs of America. These are just a variety of steps taken by America using these countries to establish and handle their powers over the Asian region.
We question those who say Sri Lanka is in a Chinese debt trap. What is the nature of the trap offered by countries including the United States and Japan? There is no such thing as free lunch. Everything comes with a price to pay.
Talking about the Hambantota port, I was the subject minister back then. Today, it has already been sold for 299-year leases. Now, as everyone knows, we had our government back then. This government exists now, and there was Chandrika Bandaranaike's government back then. Even during her government, state institutions were sold in this manner. Can anyone recall institutions which were sold on any type of lease that had been regained by the government? No. This is definitely as good as sold. Why would we need another Zaharan if one day China, India or Japan decides to attack us? On one side, they will have to give out lands in Colombo, and the other, they will give out lands in Hambantota. What will we do when they come toward us from Trincomalee? These are the economic hubs and defense hubs. The ideal person for this is Ranil Wickremesinghe. Back then, our village temple used to host an auction. There was an auctioneer, and he used to sell items to the highest bidder. Similarly, Ranil Wickremesinghe is a talented auctioneer.
We won't have a Colombo port once the eastern terminal is given away. The other parts of the Colombo port have already been given away. Once this is given away, we are only left with a small terminal called the Jayabalahum terminal. Only small boats can be docked in it. Regardless of who is in power, Mahinda Rajapaksa or Ranil Wickremesinghe, there is only one thing those UNPS and SLFPS will not understand. The government is ridding itself of the responsibility of those institutions being held by the economic and service activities. That is what is being done now.
There is a faction which is in agreement to sell off resources of the country. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa, Ranil Wickremesinghe, all of them are in it. There is no division. They will share the resources. 102 out of the 225 in parliament are those who came to parliament utilizing their family's inheritance. We need to stop this family politics. A human political camp should enter parliament. Currently, it does not house humans. Now, there are only those who know the price of resources but not the value of it. They are inhuman. There's no point in such people entering parliament as public representatives. We need to create a society which would be against such people entering parliament.
Trincomalee has one of the world's most valuable natural harbours. A significant amount of Sri Lanka's maritime history revolves around Trincomalee Harbour. Apart from the natural beauty, the depth and the location, Trincomalee Harbour has long been the envy of foreign powers. The area, and the harbour in particular, was of such significant interest that the British colonial powers held on to an arrangement that lasted beyond the granting of independence. The British used the Trincomalee Harbour as the naval base in their region because of its geographic and natural value. Trincomalee was the centrepiece of British security arrangements for the region. Admiral Dr. Jayanath Columbage, director of the Centre for Global and Strategic Studies, said that the Trincomalee Harbour has a natural depth of 25 metres and does not have to be dredged, and it is a huge advantage in comparison with the Hambantota and Colombo ports. The Admiral also added that given the depth of the harbour, nuclear submarines are able to dive low within the inner harbour. That we need to develop the Trincomalee Harbour and the areas surrounding it is a fact that has not escaped the government of Sri Lanka. We believe, however, that Sri Lanka has the necessary capability to develop the harbour using her own resources, including technical knowledge. The invaluable assets our nation has been blessed with must be protected and should not be sold in order for foreign nations to fulfill their own political agendas, however geopolitically important it may be to them. It appears that the fact that Sri Lanka is a republic and an independent country is conveniently overlooked by several interested nations in the current context. Global powers would do well to understand that Sri Lanka, although small in size, is fiercely independent. Our neighbours and global powers would do well to appreciate Sri Lanka's freedom and independence, as it would never be forgotten by the citizens of Sri Lanka. Japan found out Sri Lanka's value in the 1951 summit in San Francisco, when President J.R. Jayawardena stood against the world in support of Japan. Hopefully, they haven't forgotten this helping hand at a time of need and will continue to have our best interest at heart.
Meanwhile, a decision has been taken to summon President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe before the Parliamentary Special Committee appointed to look into the April 21st attacks.
The list of the people that the committee intends to summon in future for statements includes the name of the Prime Minister along with several other ministers. A spokesperson of the committee said the President will be summoned as the Minister of Defence. However, a specific date for the Prime Minister or the President's statement to be recorded has not yet been specified. Further, the committee has decided to summon the present State Minister of Defence, Ruwan Wijewardena, before the committee. In addition, the former Minister of Law and Order, Sagala Ratnayaka, and Ranjit Maduma Bandara are also due to be summoned before the committee. They are scripting the play where they are bringing the Prime Minister and the State Minister of Defence before the Parliamentary Special Committee. First, they script the play and then act it out. They will be fed with the dialogues. How fair is the questioning process? 3 people on that panel are from the national list. They were given parliamentary privileges with the signature of the Prime Minister. So do you think there would be a fair questioning done? But when the President comes, there is going to be a problem. Because of the disagreements that they have with the President, a problem may arise. Sarath Fonseca even might ask a few extra questions. This special committee is a staged drama. When the Prime Minister comes before the committee, they will present facts according to how the Prime Minister wants them presented, and they will come to a conclusion the Prime Minister wants. The President has stated that he has no faith in the special committee and that he does not trust the intention of the committee. Therefore, I do not think that he will appear before this committee. Forget the President. They do not have the power to even summon me. They can't take action against me for not appearing before the committee. Never before in history has a special parliamentary committee issued summons for the executive president of this country. We can't comprehend the fact that the president is summoned before juniors and certain individuals who were caught and later released in the bond scam. Issuing summons to the president of this country is something that we can't even think of. It is not Maithripala Sirisena as a person that we are concerned about, but the post of executive president. How stubborn is the government to summon the executive president of this country? I do not think the president will go. In my opinion, if he does go before the committee, it will be a disgrace to his position.
During a public rally in Mathura, leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna Anura Kumar Disanayak expressed the following views. When information regarding the central bank bond scam were revealed at the Presidential Commission, President Sirisena returned from Dimulagala to Colombo immediately. He decided to visit the central bank. When President Sirisena visited the central bank, Arjuna Mahendran and Ranil Wickremesinghe were both standing at the entrance to welcome the president. Just imagine how much of an effort the Prime Minister took to protect the central bank. However, he did not take such an effort to ensure security to the general public. If he was asked not to attend the Security Council's meeting, what steps did he take against it? Therefore, the people's security should not be handed over to the leaders of our country. When there was a threat of another attack during the end of April, Ranil Wickremesinghe was asked to leave Colombo, and he did. Can we expect such leaders to provide us with security? They are allocating funds to import bulletproof vehicles for the leader of the opposition. Mahinda Rajapaksa has two characters in one body. One is the former president of Sri Lanka and the other is the opposition leader. 100 million rupees is being allocated to renovate the official residence of Minister Kabir Hashim. These are all public funds.
As claimed by Minister Anura Kumar Disanayak, 100 million rupees worth of funds to renovate Minister Kabir Hashim's official residence was allocated through the supplementary estimate that was presented to Parliament on Tuesday. Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla, who initially stated that the funds were not allocated for him, made the following statements in Parliament the day after Minister Kabir Hashim was reappointed to his ministerial portfolio.
As the Minister of Public Enterprises, I did not obtain any house. I live in my own house. This house was obtained by Minister Kabir Hashim when he served as the Minister of Public Enterprise.
A ceremony to award Samurdhi certificates to selected families in the Hambantota district was held at the Lunalevaya Stadium today. This was in line with the program to present 600,000 families with Samurdhi benefits.
The event was held under the auspices of the Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa, while Minister of Primary Industries and Social Empowerment, Daya Gamage, was present at the occasion. 4,500 Samurdhi beneficiaries were awarded certificates along with mango saplings. We heard in recent times that poverty in our country has fallen to 6 to 7%. However, there are more than 20% of Samurdhi beneficiaries. How can that happen? False statistics were published to create a sense of relief in people. We announced to the world that poverty in our country has dropped. What was the ultimate result? We were classified as a middle-income earning country. All the aids and benefits which were given to us were revoked because it is illegal for middle-income earning countries to accept aid. they can only obtain loans. Aid was substituted by loans with colossal interest rates. If we had published the truth and shown that poverty in our country is between 25 and 27%, we would have been given financial aid instead of loans with interest to construct the Hambantota port.
Meanwhile, Minister of Power, Energy and Business Development Ravi Naik responded to questions raised by journalists in Mihintale today.
There is Ranil Wickramasinghe, Karu Jayasuriya, Sarath Fonseca, Sajith, Ravi, Lakshman Kiriyalla, Akila Viraj Karyavasam, Harin Fernando and many others. The United National Party will present the right one at the right time. We will not make the same mistake twice.
Former minister and the founder of the Urumeka Ulpatha Foundation, Milinda Morogoda, has put forward 3 points of governance for aspiring presidential candidates to ponder upon.
Issuing the release, the former minister said the first option would be to transform the executive presidency into a viable institution with adequate checks and balances through appropriate changes to the 19th Amendment. The second option shown in the release is to repeal the 13th Amendment to the Constitution and abolish the provincial council system, which has become a white elephant, costing Sri Lankan citizens over 250 billion rupees annually. The release also added that Sri Lanka needs to establish an inclusive forum in which our diverse religious and ethnic groups can participate and engage actively in the democratic purpose. This could be done through the establishment of a Senate.
According to the central bank, foreign investments to the government securities market recorded a net outflow of $79 million in April 2019.
On a cumulative basis, net outflows to the government securities market amounted to $27 million during the first 4 months of the year. Foreign investments in the CSE recorded a net outflow of $24 million in the first 4 months of this year. In 2018, the central bank recorded a net outflow from the rupee-denominated government securities market of $990 million.
If you look at the Sri Lankan investments and investments leaving out from the country, also in the stock market as well as in the foreign direct investments, there are multiple reasons. One is, of course, the attack. If you go back for a couple of months, our macroeconomic indicators were not performing well and the governance structure was not confident. So that's one reason why there's a foreign direct investment outflow. And also the stock market was not doing well because the investor confidence message which was given to the international community was that we were not very sure about what is going around. So those were few reasons why the investments are basically leaving out.
This outflow of foreign funds from the government securities market should come as no surprise to observers of current events in Sri Lanka. Investor confidence in the capital and securities market of Sri Lanka would seek policy stability and accountability as its cornerstones. Sadly, in Sri Lanka, we don't see that from the primary cornerstone of financial affairs in the country, namely the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. In February 2015, there was great consternation when there was significant departure from due process in the awarding of long-term treasury bonds to raise supposedly at the time much-needed funds for the government and the country's infrastructure development. Nearly 2 years later, a presidential commission of inquiry held various people accountable and suggested various investigations and possible legal action. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry also recommended a forensic audit. Nearly 2 years later, the forensic audits have not been completed in spite of assurances from the central bank that it will be done. Some of those who have played a key role in the flawed process of awarding long-term bonds still retain their hold on power in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has not shown the slightest iota of commitment in addressing what is a serious consideration for potential investors to Sri Lanka. For as long as the central bank bond scam, as it has popularly become known, remains unresolved and unaccounted for, it would be safe to aver that investment invitations into Sri Lanka would largely be ignored, if not scoffed at, by global investors keen to see not only a return for their monies, but also keen to ensure that adequate safety and accountability mechanisms and the respect for the law of the land is very much in place.
The Gammadda Pradeshiya Sabha Mandapaya, a program where the general public and responsible authorities meet, was held in Kumbrupitiya, Mathura today.
The Gammadda Pradeshiya Sabha Mandapaya was held next to the Lenavatua Weber in Mathura, Kumbrupitiya. The program was presided by Minister of Finance Mangala Samaravira. Officials from the Disaster Management Centre, Department of Agriculture, Department of Irrigation and several others attended the Gammadda Pradeshiya Sabha Mandapaya. A large number of people from Mathura voiced their issues before the officials during the program.
Meanwhile, a free rehabilitation program for those who are addicted to drugs was organized by the District Community Police Unit, the DIG's Office of Palyagoda and the Gammadda V-Force at the Senanaka College in Jaila today. The awareness program also provided a range of services including psychotherapy and special medical services and counseling as well as a process that must be followed to help them overcome their addiction. The next phase of this program will take place tomorrow at the Vidyaloka Mahavidyalaya in Keravalapitiya in Wattala. Continuing in more news, artist and co-founder of the Tirth International Artists Collective, Anoli Pereira, authored a book which depicts the work of H.A. Karunaratne, the father of Sri Lankan abstract art.
H.A. Karunaratne, an influential artist who acquired his skills from New York, redefined the place of spirituality in Sri Lankan modern art. Karunaratne's formal academic art education began at the Government College of Fine Arts. He was trained under eminent artists J.D.A. Pereira, David Painter and Stanley Abesinghe.
And I would call myself a reluctant writer because I'm an artist more than a writer. So, but because it is about H.A. Karunaratne, who's one of the, I would say the most, the grand master of visual art. His contribution to the contemporary art is immense, and I think it was probably my duty to the contemporary art documentation to write this book.
And with that, wrap up news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Do take care and good night.